What do a Chicago baseball fan, a sports bettor at a track meet, and 33 soccer fans in San Diego have in common? Each faced an indefinite ban, one from every MLB stadium, one from FanDuel Sportsbook, and dozens from all MLS events after crossing the line with their behavior. The indefinite ban handed to the fan who taunted Ketel Marte isn't just a one-off, it's the most public sign of a coordinated global crackdown. MLB even released an official statement commending the White Sox for their swift response. But was this punishment too harsh? To understand why this incident sparked such a strong reaction, we need to look at the moment that changed everything. A ban from every MLB stadium might sound extreme for heckling, but this was not ordinary heckling. Let's break down exactly what happened that night in Chicago. It was the top of the 7th inning, Diamondbacks versus White Sox at Wright Field. Ketel Marte, Arizona's star second baseman, had already homered earlier in the game. Now during a pitching change in the 7th, Marte was at bat. The game looked routine from the outside, but something was about to go very wrong. As the pitching change dragged on, Marte suddenly became visibly upset. He glanced toward the stands near the Diamondbacks dugout, his demeanor shifting in an instant. Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo noticed right away. Instead of heading to the mound, Lovullo moved straight toward Marte, putting an arm around him in a moment that was picked up by the broadcast cameras. There was no injury, no tactical talk, just a manager shielding his player from something deeply personal. To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to know a little about Ketel Marte's story. In 2017, his mother, Elpidia Valdez, died in a car accident in the Dominican Republic. Marte was in his 3rd season in the big leagues. That loss was life-altering, a source of pain he's carried ever since. His mother's memory is something he holds close, both as motivation and as a reminder of what he's lost. During the 7th inning, a 22-year-old fan seated near the Arizona dugout shouted a comment at Marte. This wasn't a generic taunt about his stats or a jab at his team. It wasn't the kind of trash talk players expect from the stands. The fan targeted Marte's late mother, using that private tragedy as ammunition. The exact words were never released, but multiple sources described the comment as deeply derogatory and completely out of bounds. In that moment, the fan crossed a deeply personal boundary. The impact was immediate. Marte was visibly shaken, and the Diamondbacks dugout reacted without hesitation. Manager Torey Lovullo and bench coach Jeff Bannister instantly pointed out the fan to security, demanding he be removed from the ballpark. There was no debate, no second guessing. Security quickly identified the fan and escorted him out of the stadium. The White Sox organization acted swiftly, but for Marte, the emotional damage was already done. After the game, Lovullo described his reaction, saying, "I just reacted as a dad would when I went out to change pitchers. I could see he was sobbing. It hurt. He told Marte, 'I love you, and I'm with you, and we're all together and you're not alone. No matter what happens, no matter what was said or what you heard, that guy is an idiot. It shouldn't have an impact on you.'" The message was clear. This wasn't just another night at the ballpark. This was a moment that forced everyone to rethink what's acceptable and what happens when someone goes too far. But what made this incident stand out wasn't just the ejection, it was what happened next, and the new standard it set for fan conduct across the league. Major League Baseball isn't just dealing with unruly fans, it's rewriting its entire approach to risk and reputation. Baseball's new business model is all about asset protection, and that means players come first, even if it means banning fans from every stadium in the league. So why did this one incident result in an indefinite ban from all 30 MLB stadiums? This wasn't just a knee-jerk reaction. The league's response was deliberate and coordinated. MLB didn't leave the decision to the Chicago White Sox alone. The league office stepped in, making the punishment league-wide. In its official statement, MLB praised the White Sox for their swift response, saying, "We commend the White Sox for taking immediate action." This wasn't just about one team. It was a message to every fan in North America: the line has moved. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. Recent months have seen a troubling pattern. In April, a fan in Cleveland was ejected and banned after directing a deeply personal taunt at Red Sox outfielder Jarren Duran about his past suicide attempt. The league also suspended Pirates pitcher Dennis Santana after an altercation with a fan. These events aren't isolated. Together, they reveal a rising tide of hostility, targeting players with personal and sensitive attacks. Diamondbacks shortstop Geraldo Perdomo put it bluntly, "That can't happen. We can't continue to do that here in MLB." The league heard him, and they're acting. Players are more than just athletes, they're substantial, multi-million-dollar investments. Teams rely on their performance, and their mental well-being is now recognized as critical to the business. When a player is distracted or distressed, it's not just a personal issue, it's a business risk. Poor performance on the field means fewer wins, less excitement, and lower ticket sales. If fans create a hostile environment, they threaten the quality of the product, and that hits the bottom line. That's why moments like Torey Lovullo, embracing Ketel Marte, aren't just about comfort, they're about protecting the team's most valuable assets. The White Sox's decision to display a message of support for Marte on the Jumbotron wasn't just a kind gesture, it was a calculated public relations move, signaling to the league and its fans that player welfare is now a top priority. The league's swift, decisive action wasn't just about punishing one fan, it was about setting a new standard. This move reflects a new risk mitigation strategy, protecting player welfare to safeguard the on-field product. The message is clear. Fan behavior has boundaries, and those boundaries are now non-negotiable. For decades, the fan was always right, but that era is over. The indefinite ban handed down to the fan who targeted Marte is a warning to everyone. Threaten the league's assets, and you're out. MLB is drawing a hard line, making it clear that the safety and well-being of its players will not be compromised. But baseball isn't the only sport facing this new reality. The way leagues handle fan conduct is changing everywhere, and what happened in Chicago is just one example of a much bigger shift. Across the world, sports organizations are rewriting the rules for what it means to be a fan. The crackdown isn't just about what happens inside a stadium. It now extends to social media, betting platforms, and even international borders. The consequences are real, immediate, and far-reaching. Take the case in England involving Chris Rett, a striker for Tamworth. After a fan lost a bet, he racially abused Rett on Instagram. The punishment? A 3-year banning order from attending all English matches, not just those of Tamworth. The Football Association's statement left no room for doubt. Discrimination, whether online or in person, would be met with strong action. The abuse had a human cost too. Rett refused to play for his team after the incident, showing how online words can have a direct impact on the field. In the United States, the connection between fan behavior and business risk is just as clear. At a Grand Slam track event, Olympic sprinter Gabby Thomas was heckled by a bettor who later bragged online that his interference helped him win his parlay. FanDuel Sportsbook didn't just scold him, they permanently banned the customer from their platform. In their words, he is no longer able to wager with FanDuel. The Sportsbook's statement was blunt. They condemn in the strongest terms abusive behavior directed towards athletes. Here, the risk wasn't just reputational. If bettors believe outcomes can be manipulated by heckling, the integrity of the entire betting platform is in jeopardy. Team responses are growing more coordinated and severe. After a match between San Diego FC and LA Galaxy ended in fights, San Diego FC identified and banned 33 fans indefinitely from all team and MLS events. The club didn't act alone. They coordinated with MLS, stadium officials, and local law enforcement to enforce the bans. Their public statement called the behavior entirely unacceptable, making it clear that protecting the matchday experience is now a shared responsibility between clubs, leagues, and authorities. On an even larger scale, governments are stepping in to manage fan risk. Before the Club World Cup, Argentina's government sent a list of over 15,000 fans compiled through the Tribuna Segura program to the United States, requesting they be banned from attending the tournament. These aren't just names on a list. They represent a coordinated cross-border effort to keep violent or disruptive individuals out of international sporting events. National security officials in Argentina said this step was essential to prevent violence and maintain safety at one of the world's biggest tournaments. The new reality is that fans are being tracked, identified, and held accountable in ways that would have seemed impossible a decade ago. The boundaries of acceptable fan conduct have tightened, and the penalties for crossing them are harsher than ever. Whether it's a 3-year stadium ban in England, a permanent betting ban in the US, or a government blacklist spanning continents, the message is clear: your reputation as a fan now carries real economic and social consequences. And with every new incident, the stakes keep rising. The world of sports has drawn a new line, and every fan has to decide which side they're on. The focus on fan behavior has shifted from a side issue to a central business concern for every major league. The Ketel Marte incident didn't start this transformation, but it made the stakes impossible to ignore. Your actions now feed directly into league and venue safety strategies, shaping policies that affect every part of the game day experience. For anyone looking to work in sports, understanding this shift isn't optional, it's essential. Fans must now balance passion with respect, or risk being barred from the game entirely. So what do you think? Will stricter accountability improve live sports or take away from the atmosphere? Let us know in the comments.